Gettysburg, the town we know and love. However, despite the fact that many of us have called Gettysburg a second home for multiple years, many are unaware of the historical events that actually took place here. It was here, over the course of 3 days in July 1863, that one of the most decisive battles of the American Civil War unfolded. This battle would not only redefine the current landscape of the United States, but also shape its future for years to come. As the war had gone into its third year, Confederate General Robert E. Lee advanced into Pennsylvania, hoping a significant victory in the North would sway public opinion and pressure the Union to negotiating a peace treaty. Opposing him was Union General George Meade, commanding the Army of the Potomac. The battle began on July 1st, 1863, when Confederate forces seeking shoes and supplies unexpectedly encountered Union cavalry west of Gettysburg. The skirmish quickly escalated as both sides rushed reinforcements to the field. Early in the fighting, the well-respected Union General John Reynolds was killed tragically in battle. The Confederate forces, seizing the moment, pushed hard against the Union lines, driving them back through the streets of Gettysburg. By the end of the day, the Union forces retreated to a defensive position on the high grounds south of the town, Cemetery Hill and Cemetery Ridge, setting the stage for the monumental struggles to come. On July 2nd, the battle intensified. Lee sought to shatter the Union's flanks. The Confederates launched ferocious assaults on the Union left at Little Round Top and on the Union right at Culp's Hill. Through desperate and valiant fighting, including a famed bayonet charge by the 20th Maine under Colonel Joshua Chamberlain, the Union lines had held their ground. The climax of the battle came on the final day, July 3rd, with Pickett's charge. In a bold move, over 12,000 Confederate soldiers marched across open fields under heavy artillery and rifle fire towards the Union center on Cemetery Ridge. The devastating consequences of this failed charge marked a turning point not just in the battle, but in the war itself. Despite suffering heavy losses, the Union Army had secured a much-needed victory, and the Confederates were forced to retreat. Lee's invasion of the North had come to an abrupt halt, and the tides of the war had been turned. What was once a quiet and peaceful town was now littered with tens of thousands of dead and wounded, not to mention slaughtered farm animals and fields that had quite literally been scorched to almost nothingness. With over 51,000 casualties and over 7,000 killed, the Battle of Gettysburg would go down as the bloodiest battle of the entire Civil War, and to this day remains one of the most devastating battles for American lives ever. Soon after its conclusion, Abraham Lincoln would give one of the most famous speeches ever delivered, the Gettysburg Address. As many know, the Union would go on to win the Civil War and preserve the United States of America and eventually abolish slavery. The soldiers in this battle fought with immense bravery, with some of them likely knowing they would never return from the fighting. Despite the tragedy of the extreme loss of life, the Gettysburg battlefield and its monuments serve as a reminder for those who fought with unwavering courage and valor for what they believed in.